While people say blue jeans are a wardrobe essential, we beg to differ. There's nothing like a perfect pair of daily pants to elevate your outfit. They are suitable for every season, and you can either dress them up or down basis the occasion. If you are keen on learning how to stitch one yourself, this tutorial is for you. In this video, we will learn to make a stylish pant in just few easy steps that include cutting the fabric basis the template, stitching the crotch area, combining the front and back pieces by stitching the inner and outer seams, attaching the bottom shape facing for fashionable look, casing the pants, and finally attaching the elastic. For making a pair of daily pants, you will need a 2.5 meter piece of fabric of 44 inches width, the daily pants template which you can download from our website www.ushasew.com, chalk, pair of scissors, thread, elastic and safety pin. So let's get started. Take the fabric and fold it into half in a way that the wrong side of the fabric faces you. Lay it on the table. Step 1. Template marking and cutting. Place the template marked front side of the pant on the fabric. Don't place it in the center, as other pieces need to be accommodated as well. Now pin the template in place. Ensure that the pin goes through both the layers of the cloth, as this will help keep the fabric in place. Next, take the template marked back. Place it on the fabric and repeat the same process. Bring out the template titled Front Shape Facing Strip, like seen in the video. This will give the fronts of the pants a very stylish bottom cut. Pin that as well to both the sides of the cloth. Then we have to pin the template for the back bottom hem strip of the pant. Now, we'll quickly take you through the template measurements. This template is for a S size pant. Once you have your measurements in place, take a chalk and mark the edges of all the templates. You will have to be precise while marking, as you will be cutting the cloth basis for this outline. After you are finished, unpin the templates one by one and remove them from the cloth. It's now time to cut. With a steady hand, cut through the outlines you've drawn. It is important to be precise, as this will make or break your design. Don't forget to cut the bottom-facing strips. As you can see in the video, we have 4 distinct pieces of the pant with us. Step 2 is all about stitching the crotch area. The section pointed on the screen is the crotch area for the front and the back of the pant. Let's get stitching. Take the front part to your Usha Allure Deluxe sewing machine. Set the pattern selector dial to A for a straight stitch and the stitch length to 2.5. Keep the thread tension dial on 4 and get stitching. Commence by stitching on the previously pointed crotch area. After initial few stitches, do a reverse stitch as shown to lock the stitches. Then proceed with the normal straight stitch. We repeat the process of reverse stitching at the end as well to prevent it from coming undone. Once it's completed, cut the thread. It's now time to neaten the raw edges of the fabric. We will do this with the zigzag stitch. Set the pattern selector dial to C and the stitch length to 1.5 and go ahead with the stitching. Perfect! Now cut the thread and repeat the same process for the back part of the pant. After stitching, cut through any excess threads with a pair of scissors. This is how your stitch should look like on both the pieces. Moving on to step 3, which is stitching the side and the inner seams to join the two parts together. Open the back part of the pant and lay it on the table. Then take the front part and place it on the back part as shown, with the inside part facing you. So we have the right side facing the right side. This is an important step. Ensure that the edges of both the parts are placed together. Start pinning the edges of the parts with a pin. This forms the outer seam. Repeat the process on the other leg. Now, take the crotch area you just stitched and pin the center together. Continue down the pant legs and this becomes your inner seam. It's very essential that the two parts are pinned together precisely and carefully. Once done, it's time to get started on the stitching. Set the pattern selector to A for a straight stitch and stitch length to 2.5 and start sewing the outer seam of one leg. And don't forget to do a reverse stitch at the start and the end to lock them in. Keep removing the pins as you stitch. After cutting the excess thread, move on to the outer seam of the other leg and repeat the process along the length of the pant. Now comes the inner seam. Unlike the outer seam, the inner seam requires a continuous stitch from one leg of the pant to the other. Start your stitch at the end of the right leg and make your way along the length of the pant to the crotch and to the end of the left leg. Lift the presser foot and cut the excess thread. After straight stitching, we come to the zigzag stitch. Set the pattern selector dial to C and stitch length to 1.5 and commence with the stitch. As you can see in the video, we now have a semi-ready pant. Take a close look at the stitches we have done. This is the outer seam and this is the inner seam. Now, turn the pant inside out and let's move ahead to step 4. In this step, we'll be preparing the bottom shape facing strip that we have cut earlier. We have 4 strips ready, 2 V-shaped and 2 straight ones. Take the V-shaped strip and pin it to straight strip at the edges. While pinning, make sure the V-shaped strip is facing the right way up and the straight strip is facing backwards like shown in the video. Repeat the process for the other pair of strips and take them to the machine. Once again, the pattern selector to A for a straight stitch and the stitch length to 2.5 and proceed with stitching the edges together as shown in the video. Stitch both the pairs and cut off any excess threads. These are now ready to be sewn on the pant. Step 5 is all about attaching the bottom strip to the pant and finishing the waistline. Take the stitch strips to the pant and match them. Notice that one side is longer on the strip as well as the pants. Place the stitch strips perfectly on the pant so the sides are aligned and pin the points as shown in the video. Do the same for the other side. And done! Now moving on to the waistline. Take the pant to the ironing board and fold a 1/4 inch from the top for a small section and iron it to ensure that the fold stays in place. Repeat the process till the whole waistline is done. Post this. Fold another 1 1/4 inch throughout the waistline like you can see in the video and iron. Before going for the final stitches, iron from the top once again. This will ensure that you have a proper crease line. Starting from the bottom, remove the accessory box of the sewing machine as shown in the video for circular stitching with ease. Commence stitching at the bottom of the strip. It has to be one continuous stitch. Once you reach to the other side of the V, pivot the fabric around the needle as shown and continue stitching. This technique of not removing needle from the fabric is called pivoting. Remove the pins as you stitch. Stitch over the joining flap and stop. The stitch should look like this. Now take a pair of scissors and cut below the stitch line as shown. Slashing is done. Avoid seam puckering. Continue this process across the strip. After you are done, take the extra cloth over the stitch line and fold downwards as shown. Press on the fabric to create crease lines. You then have to lock these crease lines by stitching over them. Once you stitch the crease lines, you'll notice excess fabric at the top of the V. Take the fabric and fold it inwards like shown in the video and press over it. Now turn the pant leg inside out and take the folded section and fold another 1/4 inch at the top and stitch at the crease line. Repeat this process across. Remember to use the pivot technique when you get to the top of the V to ensure that it is one continuous stitch. After you are done, cut any excess thread for a perfect finish. Produce and replicate the procedure to the other leg of the pant. Coming to the ironed waistline, place the accessory box of the machine back in place and start stitching at the end of the folded section. Keep stitching till you go all the way around. But remember to keep a 2-inch gap at the end at the back of the pant to insert the elastic. Cut the extra threads and turn the pant inside out. The last step is the easiest one, inserting the elastic in the pant. Remember the 2-inch gap at the back? We'll be working with that. Take an elastic roll, place the elastic against the waist length. The length of the elastic should be 29 inches plus 1 inch extra for the overlap. Cut at measure as shown in the video. We'll use a safety pin to insert the elastic. Pin the safety pin to the elastic piece and insert it in the 2-inch gap of the waistband. Keep pushing the safety pin forward till it comes out of the other side. Don't forget to pin the elastic end at the start to avoid the entire length from passing through. Take the two ends of the elastic and create a half-inch overlap with a pin. We'll be doing a box stitch on the elastic. Remove the pin and start stitching using the pivoting technique as shown in the video. Towards the end, do a reverse stitch to lock in the stitches. This will ensure that the elastic doesn't come loose. Cut the excess threads and push the overlap into the fold and adjust it accordingly. We will now stitch over the 2-inch gap to lock the elastic in place. And we are done! Your perfect pair of pants are ready. You may iron all the seams on the right side to thread melding. As you can see, this is what your finished product will look like. A perfect pair of pants are now a reality. Simply buy the fabric and sew them. Let us know your thoughts and what else you would like to see in the comments section of the video.